Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again in this YouTube astrological segment. I'm going to be talking about the sun in the 12th house in a natal chart. Now, some of you may remember when I first started my YouTube astrology channel, I did a series on the sun placements in the houses, and videos were a little bit concise, and some people may have referred to them as snappy. So what I decided to do was make another series on them in which the videos would be a little bit longer and more descriptive. So anyway, first thing up is, well, the sun in astrology is connected with our focus and attention, so there may be a lot of focus and attention put on one's limitations, restrictions, their fears, trying to cope with them. The less fortunate, which can include the impoverished, homeless, hungry, the oppressed. Also, the self-undoing, secret sorrows, things that are introspection, solitude, seclusion, meditation, spirituality, the metaphysical, which includes astrology. Now, the sun in the 12th house is like the sun in Pisces, but naturally, you've got to blend zodiac sign in when you're looking at that. But anyway, the sun in astrology is also connected with our drive and motivation. So having the sun in the 12th house, there may be a lot of drive and motivation. Again, dealing with restrictions, limitations, fears, inhibitions, things that are things that are limiting us, and it could be self-sabotage in some cases. There may be intense desire, or I should say, I'm sorry, drive, motivation, and incentive to help people that are less fortunate that are than ourselves, doing things of a spiritual nature, uh, secret sorrows, matters that are done in solitude, seclusion, isolation. Again, the metaphysical, which includes astrology, it could be doing something um, paranormal, poetry, dancing, photography, doing something associated with illusions, such as working as a magician or special effects in movies, as some examples, things that are associated with videos and film in general. This is where you may bring a lot of that drive and motivation to. Now, also, too, the sun in astrology is connected with our vitality, our energy. Now, the ascendant plays a strong role in our energy and vitality, but the sun can play a role in that as well. And the sun, with the sun in the 12th house, there may be a lot of vitality and energy. Brought to matters that are connected with spirituality, with rescuing, helping those less fortunate. Again, the metaphysical, which can include astrology, doing something with poetry, dancing, matters connected with introspection, solitude, seclusion. Um, the also behind the scenes activities as well, and also too, sun in astrology has a connection with the physical body. The ascendant is what dominates the appearance and physical body, but the sun can play a role in this as well. And having the physical body, being physically fit, or just being in shape to do things. Since we're talking about the 12th house, it could be in matters with an aunt or uncle. It could be helping the less fortunate, being physically able to do things for these people when necessary. There may be limitations with the person physically, and when you have the sun in the 12th house, it can limit and restrict the vitality and energy level, but also there may be limitations in general with the physical body, and a lot of it I would say would depend on the sign that the sun is in. If the sun is in Taurus in the 12th house, it might be some issue with the thyroid, the neck, the throat, the esophagus, or ears, as some examples. If the sun is in Gemini, as another example, maybe some issues with the arms, the hands, the lungs, or the nerves, as another example. And there also may be some kind of, when you're talking about the physical body and the 12th house. Now keep in mind the 12th house, is connected with the feet, the toes, the lymphatic and immune system. So there may be some issues physically there. The sun is also associated with the left or right eye depending on gender. And it's also, the sun is connected with the heart as well, the spine and the upper back. So there may be some limitations and issues with that as well. Now the sun in astrology is associated with action. So, again, being the 12th house, the house of limitations and restrictions, there may be some issues in matters with action. There may be some delays or, difficulty in taking action in matters. 12th house is also our fears, so there may be more fear in doing this, in taking action. It could be actions may result in the self-undoing, but there may be a lot of activity associated with dealing with hidden adversaries, people that may be posing as friends but are really enemies, as an example. And also in matters connected, with the dreams, the fantasies that the person may have, dealing with the less fortunate. Um, it could be matters, with poetry, dancing, photography, 12th house fields, as as some other examples. And remember that the sun in astrology is connected with our basic fundamental characters. So a lot of that may be shown and expressed, toward people that are prominent in one's private life, and it might be maybe more difficult in expressing this, to people in general, because you're talking about the 12th house of limitations and restrictions. If the sun is in the same sign as the ascendant, though, then it may be easier to do this as opposed to the sun being in a different sign than the ascendant. Because if you have the ascendant in the same sign as the sun sign, you'd be projecting a lot that energy outwardly anyway, which would be connected with your true self. But anyway, now another thing is that the sun in astrology is associated with the biological father and children. So there may be, when you have this placement, being in the 12th house, there may be some limitations and restrictions in those matters. Those people may be tied into secret sorrows, but may help you in matters that are connected with your fears, matters that are associated with the self-undoing, dealing with hidden adversaries. But one or more of these people may actually be a hidden enemy in some cases. Now, it could show that the relationship with these people may be limited to some degree. Like I have Saturn in my 12th house in my natal chart, and there was, as far as the connection with the father, was limited because he died when I was 3 years old. So anyway, well, the sun in astrology is also associated with confidence and self-assuredness. So the sun in the 12th house, this could be, there may actually be confidence and self-assuredness in dealing with the unknown, dealing with fears, but there can also be limitations and restrictions in confidence as well. And dealing with, as far as, helping those less fortunate than yourself, hidden enemies, dealing with those people, matters that are private, matters, things that you do in solitude and seclusion and isolation, meditation, spirituality, poetry, dancing, those things is where you may bring a lot of confidence in. Now, the sun is also about, how and, who may shine, but when they shine, the sun in the 12th house may simply shine, could be matters, with the metaphysical, which includes astrology, behind the scenes activities, the paranormal, things that one does in solitude and seclusion. Um, it could be doing things with an aunt or an uncle, um, helping the less fortunate than oneself, dealing with secret sorrows, trying to combat one's fears, or coping with limitations and restrictions, as some examples in this. But anyway, people, That'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.